This is Sam Whitwer, and you are listening to Page Turners. They were not.
My name is Brennan Miller. I don't know if you're hearing it's my ventilator. Welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. I wanted to give you my thoughts on the Mandalorian and Grogu, which was released a week ago, which I saw on opening night. And I wanted to give you my thoughts. It's not a review. Speaking of not a review, my friend Alvin Diaz did an episode of his podcast for radio and gave his thoughts on the movie. That was also not a review. I would recommend listening to his episode because he articulated everything that I wanted to say so much better than I could have. He and I seem to be on a similar wavelength in terms of how we felt about the movie. So let me get right to it. The Mandalorian and Grogu is a fun movie. That is the bottom line here. It's fun. And I think that fun might be something that may have been missing from some elements of Star Wars recently. As in, last year, you had Andor. Earlier this year, you had Maul Shadow Lord. Neither were exactly what I would call fun. In fact, Andor was the antithesis of fun. It was dead serious. Mandalorian Grogu is fun. Now let me clarify what I mean by that. I do not mean to say that it is devoid of depth. The movie is fun and has a lot of deep ideas. Now let me just clarify even further. One of the things that I feel is lacking right now is media literacy, especially among many of the fans. What is media literacy? It's the ability to comprehend the story and that you're able to put the puzzle pieces together, basically connecting the dots. Of, well, why did this happen? Or why did this decision happen? Because this over here said such and such. Or things like, well, as far as this movie is concerned, the themes and the deeper ideas and the character development is arguably on a more subtle level. But I don't think it's actually that subtle. It's just that it may be too subtle for some people to catch up on. Now, I don't mean to compare art. And let me be clear, Andor, I love. You all know I love. Andor is like someone standing next to you with a megaphone yelling in your ear, do you get the point? Do you get the theme? Andor is not a subtle show. The Mandalorian and Grogu, when it comes to character development, themes and ideas, is more subtle. As in, it's not, forgive the word, spoon feeding it to you the way that Andor did. So, in the case of the Mandalorian and Grogu, one of the criticisms that gets leveled against it is that there is no character development. I disagree with that very strongly. The character development of Mando, Grogu, and Rhoda the Hutt is very strong. And I don't want to necessarily go into it, but let's just say our friend Ken Napzok was on Movie Fights the other day. And by the way, he's a braver man than me. And went up against some people who did not understand. And Ken used examples from the movie, lines of dialogue the characters say, to explain there was character development. But oddly enough, his opponents said he was just making that up. Those are his exact words. So I don't know what to say to the people who didn't get it, but without spoiling it, the character development is there. I'm trying to keep this non-spoiler, but there is character development, and I would warn you, if you have not seen the movie, you really have to pay attention. The unfortunate problem is it's very easy to dismiss this movie, and I think a lot of people have. But I don't want to harp on that too much. I just want to talk about what I experienced, and the character development totally made sense to me. To be quite honest, it isn't that subtle. And yet I guess it was still too subtle for some. Because they weren't waving a red flag at you saying, see? See? Anyhow, character development is definitely there. The growth of the characters is there. Other things, I really think that the music here, by the way, Ludwig Göransson really expanded the score. It's an amazing musical score. With, as the kids say, some real bangers. Um, so that was good. I really enjoyed how many creatures there are in this movie. Weird aliens and weird creatures. That's been lacking a little bit lately in Star Wars. This is an all-out creature fest with aliens and monsters and all kinds of neat stuff. Some people say, oh, it's just them playing with action figures. To that I say, what do you think Star Wars is? It's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly what anyone would do. Uh, But it's a real creature fest. And some really cute creatures, some really scary creatures. We got a lot of huts, a lot of swampy, weird planets. There's a great, there's a gladiator fight scene. Which I don't want to give anything away, but if you know, you know. This is just a lot of fun. It's wild and crazy and just, it's the side of Star Wars that I wanted to see. Now, the one thing about this movie is it is exactly as advertised. So either that's going to work for you or it's not. But there's no deceit in the trailers. This movie gives you exactly what it promises you. There's nothing hidden here. And I knew going into the movie that it was going to work for some people and not for others. And to a degree, it's become predictable. The reaction to this movie is very predictable. Unfortunately, it means that people who are already going to hate it are going to hate it. And the people who are going to like it are going to like it. And I don't mean that that's true of everyone. I just mean that there are certain elements where this part of the movie is going to work for some people, not for others. But I'll warn you, just go in with an open mind. Put aside your expectations and just go in and have fun. Just be willing to ride the ride. And if it doesn't, on an artistic level, if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. I will admit there are some pacing problems. Maybe the structure doesn't play out quite right. But I had a blast, and I can only tell you what I experienced. But I knew what the reaction was going to be before I ever saw the movie. So I would say don't bother with any critic reviews. The box office is doing well, but don't bother looking at that. Just go in with no preconceived notions. And I hope you have a good time. And if you don't, that's fine. So that's really all I got to say. I know that I'm being very vague because I want to avoid spoilers. But so many people have said their reviews so much better than me. Harkins Top Shelf, Idiot's Array, Fourth Center, and Octo Radio. Heck, even Star Wars Explained had articulated their feelings way better than I could. But needless to say, I recommend this film. I think it's a lot of fun with a surprising amount of character development and depth. But don't take my word for it. I want to hear your thoughts. But just take a little advice that it's better to leave your emotional baggage at the door and just enjoy the ride. Those are my thoughts on the Mandalorian and Grogu. Thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. The day this will be published is May 30th, which, by the way, is my parents' 42nd wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. My name is Brennan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. You were tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not. May the Force be with you.